Darkness falls quickly here. I should make my way back to the inn.
Good evening, Miss Bateman.
Good evening, Stanley. I found Hob's barrow.
Oh, remember what I said, Miss Bateman? There are stories connected to that place.
Yes, stories you won't elaborate on, I might add. Don't worry about me, Stanley. I'm quite capable of warding off imagined fiends.
I have no doubt, but please leave that place be.
I've come this far, there's no turning back now.
That's precisely what worries me.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Time for bed. Tomorrow I shall convince Mr. Bryden to allow me to begin my excavation.
Miss Bateman. How are you?
Tired.
Gonna buy you a drink?
No thanks, Mr. Tillett.
Please, Miss Bateman. I feel bad about what happened last night. I'm sorry I can't remember it.
That's all right, Mr. Tillett. Alcohol can do all sorts of damage to one's memory.
I was thinking that maybe if we had another drink tonight, I might remember what happened.
I'm not sure that's logical.
But worth trying?
Oh, Mr. Tillett, if you insist.
Very good. Take your seat, Miss Bateman. I shall return with the goods.
To Leonard's shoulder.
Wherever he may be. I've been meaning to ask you something.
Yes?
Why did Leonard's shoulder ask you to dig up Hob's barrow?
Despite his disappearing act the previous evening, not to mention his questionable sobriety, I decided Mr. Tillett was to be my ally. I spoke again of Mr. Shoulder's letter, his proposed excavation, and my status as an antiquarian and barrow digger. He was fascinated and quite excited at the prospect of meeting the soon-to-be author of a real-life book.
You must find all manner of riches on your digs.
Barrow digging is not all success, Mr. Tillett. Often I'll come across the likeliest of sites steeped in promise. We set to work with shovel and pick and all the other barrow opening paraphernalia you can imagine. Every stone carefully taken down, every shovel full of earth put dutifully through the sieve, and we find nothing. Or you may find a miserable remnant of animal bone or a shard of pottery hardly to be recognized from the peat in which it decayed. Sometimes it's as if some Neolithic humorist prepared an elaborate practical joke for your special benefit.
It still sounds much more exciting than spending your days sitting in England's most remote railway station.
Are you all right, Mr. Tillett?
I've had another argument with Agnes.
Your wife?
Aye. She didn't want me coming to the plough tonight. Truth is, I've been drinking my life away since my mother passed.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry for your loss.
You're kind, Miss Bateman. Thank you. It's been a year since the old girl left us. She had a horrible end, wasting away, day by day. Consumption got her. She was naught but bones by the end. I can't get the image out of my mind. She were everything to me.
I'm so sorry.
I apologise for going on, Miss Bateman. It's not appropriate.
Don't worry, Mr. Tillett. I appreciate your openness.
Used to love going for walks out in the moor, my mother and I, ever since I were a little one. She'd get a tear in her eye as she looked out upon it. She loved this land. I asked Mr. Crozier to build a bench, which we've erected at a favourite lookout spot on the moors. Margaret's Lookout, we called it. Aye.
That's a beautiful tribute.
Aye. If you take a seat there, do keep her in your thoughts, won't you?
Of course, Mr. Tillett. I can relate in some manner. My father had an accident when I was very young. He's still alive, but he can neither move nor speak. He spends his entire life bedbound and incapable of communicating or looking after himself in any way.
How dreadful.
He was a barrow digger himself, an antiquarian of some renown. He taught me so much, even though I was so young. I think writing this book is my way of carrying on his work. It helps me reclaim those earlier memories of him, and I visit him often to tell him all about my excavations.
Can he hear you?
I've no idea. The doctors aren't sure. I'd do anything to make him better, Mr. Tillett. I'd do anything to bring him back to the man he was. I am in a state of suspended mourning for a man caught between life and death.
Dreadful. Just dreadful.
We all have our weaknesses. Mine just happens to be my father.
And what of your mother?
A cold woman. We haven't talked in quite some time. I think she blamed me for my father's accident somehow.
You were but a child.
Indeed. She thus saw it fit that a governess should raise me as she spent her life grieving for my father.
Well then, I propose a toast.
A toast to what?
A shared sense of loss.
I'll toast to that, Arthur. Now then, enough of this wallowing.
Let us be merry. Another round.
I really shouldn't. But I did. And another after that. And another. The frustrations of my visit to Bewlay slipped away with each swill of Stanley's finest ale. We had great fun that night, Mr. Tillett and I. I treasure the memory.
Go on then. Let's hear those pipes.
Mustn't.
Sing the song.
You're incorrigible.
Please. You'll make a sad man happy.
Oh, all right then. Clasps, celts and arrowheads I'll try to claw within my clutch, and if a shield I should espy, I'll vow there ne'er was such.
With popish tricks and relics rare, the priests their flocks do gull. In casting out the earth take care. Huzzah! I've found a skull!
Hello, Thomasina.
What is this? Who are you?
I'm the one that saved your father.
What do you mean?
He were here 25 years ago.
My father?
He were deep down with the others. He were there when something went wrong. I dragged him out.
Impossible.
I helped him then, and I can help him again.
I don't understand.
Believe my words. You'll find proof in morning. Now go. One more thing. This is not a dream.
Goodness, that was a terrible sleep. What's this? There's a strange stone strapped to the cover. It appears to be a journal, full of hogwash. I don't recognise the handwriting. Maybe Stanley knows more about it.
Good morning. How's your head, Miss Bateman? That were quite the tune you treated us to last night.
To be honest, Stanley, I've felt better. I take it you slid this journal under my door?
I beg your pardon?
The journal, Stanley.
I certainly did no such thing. Nor could have anyone else. You're the only guest staying here.
What's the meaning of all this? Do you propose that it manifested itself out of thin air?
Well,
Objects do not appear from nowhere. You must have put it there.
Miss Bateman, I've never even seen this book before.
I'm sorry. I just don't understand how else it could have got there. Are you sure there was no one else here overnight?
Without doubt.
How very, very peculiar.
So, what does it say inside?
Take a look.
Well, I can't make head nor tail of it.
Neither can I.
Maybe someone else in the village can help you with it.
What do you make of this stone?
That's a funny-looking thing. It's got a cockerel on it.
Yes, but have you seen anything like it?
Never.
Do you ever have strange dreams, Stanley?
Me? I sleep as sound as a baby.
I had one such dream last night. It was so vivid.
What were it about?
I was at Hob's Barrow,
Oh?
but everything was different. Great peaks soared in the distance. And there was a creature.
A creature, you say?
Yes, a short, robed fellow, eyes as black as pitch. It told me that my father had been there in Hob's Barrow many years ago, but something went wrong and the creature helped him escape. It said that I would find proof in the morning.
Oh, the journal! You've had a premonition, lass.
Please, Stanley, I've no time for that nonsense. But I'll admit it's a strange coincidence.
Now, what did I tell you about Hob's Barrow?
That I should leave it alone?
Aye.
Hogwash.
Your dream reminds me of a story from my childhood. An old folk tale about Hob's Barrow.
What is this folk tale you mention?
Well, when I were a wee boy, there were talk of a goblin. They say he lived inside Hob's Barrow, hence the name, Hob's Barrow. Hob, coming from hobgoblin, of course. Unfortunately, I don't remember anything else about it.
I was told not to believe in such fairy tales, Stanley.
Don't close your mind to such things, lass. I'm sure Mr. Shoulder will tell you more.
Perhaps, if I ever meet him. Goodbye.
See you soon.
Good morning, Mr. Kemp.
Good day, Miss Tompkins.
I'm here for his lordship's paper.
Sorry, lass. Mr. Price hasn't dropped them off this morning. I heard he actually left the village yesterday.
Indeed, I can vouch for that.
Ma'am?
Good day.
Oh dear. His lordship won't be pleased.
My sincerest apologies, Miss Tompkins.
I'll come back in a few days. Ta-ra.
Goodbye.
Who is Miss Tompkins?
A housemaid in the employ of Panswick Manor. She comes by to pick up his lordship's weekly paper.
I'm surprised newspapers are available in Bewlay.
Aye, his lordship gets what he wants.
Lord Panswick likes to keep up with affairs from outside of Bewlay.
Aye, he has many interests around the country.
What sort of interests?
His lordship's affairs are his own business.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Goodness me, I can't budge it.
Be careful, Miss Bateman. You'll cut yourself. I spent all morning trying to get that bloody thing out. I shall be having words with that scoundrel next time he shows his face.
Curses.
We have our very own Excalibur. It's all yours if you can pull it out, King Arthur.
Right, I need to convince Mr. Bryden to let me excavate Hob's Barrow and find out where this journal came from. Curses! I forgot I had this worm in my pocket. Poor thing is dead now. Rest in peace, Kenneth. I've just noticed this matchbox is completely damp from the rain. The match is no use to me anymore. Good morning, Father Roach.
Ah, Miss Bateman. What a pleasure to see you again. Have you tracked down Mr. Shoulder yet?
Don't get me started.
I'll take that as a no.
Indeed. Do you recognise this journal?
What a tatty old thing. You ought to take better care of your possessions, Miss Bateman.
It's not mine.
Then whose is it?
That's precisely what I'm trying to find out.
I'm afraid I can't help you. I haven't seen it before.
What do you make of this stone?
I don't recognize the symbol from any Christian iconography. Did you make it yourself?
No, never mind. What brings you to the square today?
I'm meeting a couple of young congregation members to go over some scripture. You're welcome to join us.
Thank you, Father Roach, but I have quite a busy day ahead of me.
We will be at St. Edmund's, should you wish to join us later.
What do you know of Lord Panswick?
Oh, yes. A rather important fellow around here. His vast land holdings give many a steady employment.
I hear he is renovating an old chapel on his land.
Aye, I've heard such reports. He believes this to be a godless land, something I wholeheartedly disagree with. To which god his chapel will be dedicated to remains a matter of concern.
Why do you say that?
Oh, my apologies. Don't listen to my oafish conjecture. Let us move on.
Thanks for your time.
Lord be with you.
Thomasina!
Good morning, Arthur.
You look a bit addled. Are you feeling all right?
I am not used to drinking as much as we did.
Aye, my head is pounding.
To tell you the truth, Arthur, I've had a somewhat puzzling morning.
Oh?
Someone slipped this journal under the door of my room.
Whose journal is it?
I have no idea. The text refers to some sort of excavation.
Stanley must be playing tricks on you.
He swore his innocence. I thought perhaps you might have done it?
No, it wasn't me. That's for certain. Somehow I have a clear memory of last night.
I wonder who left me this journal then.
Mind if I take a closer look?
Please, go ahead.
The writings of a madman.
I don't disagree. Did the sketches mean anything to you?
No, not at all. But they turned me stomach. You might want to show this to Mother Mildred.
Who is Mother Mildred?
Some think her a witch.
A witch?
Aye. She might be able to help you with the symbols.
Where can I find her?
She lives alone in a little cottage within Herne Wood here. You shouldn't have too much trouble finding her.
Thanks, Arthur.
You're welcome.
I had a splendid time last night.
Aye. I even remember most of it this time. Thanks for listening to me going on. I really appreciate it.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you too, Arthur. Shouldn't you be manning the station?
The line is down. Track damage between Bewlay and Bakewell. No trains for a day or more.
Does that mean I'm stranded here?
For the time being, Thomasina.
Capital. Why do people think Mother Mildred is a witch? Just because a woman lives alone in the woods doesn't mean she flies about on a broomstick.
There's more to it than that. They say she lays with demons.
Who are they?
Oh, you know, local folk.
Hogwash.
Some also go to her for potions and spells.
Spells? Come now, Arthur.
Truth be told, she's a nice old lady. I sometimes see her foraging in the brambles around here.
Will she burn at the stake sometime soon?
You might think us backward in Bewlay, Thomasina, but we're not that backward.
Sorry, Arthur. I only meant to tease. What do you make of this stone?
It's a good shape for skimming across water. What is it?
I'm not sure. It was strapped to the cover of the journal.
How mysterious.
Goodbye.
Ta-ra!
Thomasina, dear, come say goodbye to your father. Come on now, don't make him wait.
I don't want to.
Aren't you going to miss me?
I hate you, Daddy.
Those are strong words for such a little lady.
I want to come with you.
We've been through this, little bird. You can't come with me this time. But we'll go to Seaborough next month. I promise. Oh, what a dig that shall be.
I hate you.
Well, I love you. See you soon, little bird.
I've collected some waxy resin. Please, forgive my intrusion. Are you Mother Mildred?
Some call me that. I prefer Mildred Walker, given as that's my name.
Apologies. Thomasina Bateman. I think we met at Bewlay Station.
I take it Panswick's men have cleared off. Good riddance. Those ruffians would cut their own noses off if he asked them to. I recognised you the moment I laid eyes on you at the station.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, yeah, it's quite a striking family resemblance. You have your father's eyes, Miss Bateman.
You knew my father?
Such piercing blue eyes he had. What a handsome young man. William.
He was here, in Bewlay.
Oh, yes. A long time ago, mind. 25 years by my reckoning. But I'll never forget those eyes.
Why was my father in Bewlay?
He were helping Samuel Bryden excavate Hob's Barrow.
You must be jesting.
Do I look like I'm jesting?
How did you come to meet my father?
One might say I have a reputation in these parts. Folks from all around come to me for help with their ailments. Fernwood is abundant with flora that, if mixed correctly, will cure almost any ill. Your father must have caught wind of this, as one day he came to me, asking for a cure.
A cure for what?
Your mother were with child, and she was suffering the most terrible nausea.
Adam.
I made something to help her.
The journal. This was entered in the journal. It belongs to my father.
What journal?
Take a look at this. A passage recalls meeting a local wise woman to seek a tincture for his beloved's nausea gravidarum.
Aye, that's me. I made the tincture for him.
This is incredible.
You don't recognise your own father's handwriting?
It's been so many years since I've seen it. What do you make of this stone?
I-A-W. I haven't a clue. Perhaps it's an old folk trinket, or a talisman of some kind. The moors are steeped in folklore.
What can you tell me about the excavation?
Well, not much. I only met your father twice. The last time he asked me if I knew anything about binding magic.
Binding magic?
He said he needed it for the excavation.
Hogwash. My father is a man of logic and reason. Why would he be asking about such nonsense?
Perhaps you don't know him as well as you think you do. Anyway, I know nothing of magic and told him so. He seemed disappointed. I never saw him again, but I understand the excavation went ahead. Samuel Bryden hanged himself not long after. Reason enough for you to stay well clear of that place.
You never saw my father again after the excavation?
No, I always assumed he just went home.
Who excavated Hobbs Barrow alongside Samuel Bryden and my father?
From memory, it were just the two of them.
What do you think my father meant by binding magic?
I've no idea. He didn't explain more and I didn't wish to pry.
This just doesn't sound like my father at all.
You'll have to ask him yourself.
I'm afraid my father has been incapacitated since I was a child. He cannot speak nor move.
Terrible. Oh, I'm sorry.
You said that the flora here could cure almost any ill.
Almost, my dear. But your father's affliction sounds beyond my abilities.
The landlord of the Plough and Furrow told me about a folk tale associated with Hobbs Barrow. Something about a goblin. Are you familiar with it?
No doubt there is such a tale. Name any beastie you can think of and someone round here will have a story about it.
My thoughts precisely. Charles Bryden mentioned there was a third man involved in the excavation.
Is that so? Well, you best ask him about it. He knows more than I do.
Can you tell me anything about Leonard's shoulder?
I know of him, as is the nature of such a small town. I also know he invited you here.
Little escapes you, Miss Walker.
So they say. My path rarely crosses with his. Let's put it that way. But he's a nice enough fellow.
I see. Do you know Lord Panswick?
I know his labourers make a mess of these woods, the brutes. The man himself hasn't graced me with his presence.
You've never met him?
Not since he were a wee lad. A maid brought him to me with a sore stomach. It were all the rich food they were feeding him, nowt more.
Thank you for your help, Miss Walker.